Welcome to the Kingdom Hairstylist podcast. This is your host, Billie Jean. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Kingdom Hairstylist podcast. This is your host. My name is Billie Jean. I hope that you all had a great weekend, and I pray that your Monday and Tuesday is already off to a great start. I've been having a great day so far. My Monday was good. I relaxed. I didn't really do too much. The weekend, I recorded with my band on Saturday. Sunday, I pretty much relaxed that day as well. I've been just trying to get a little bit more rest. And another thing that I wanted to say is that I've been becoming more of a worshiper versus being a worrier. I used to wake up and worry about all the things that I got to do for the day and all the things that I need to do for the next day and then for the whole week and then for the whole month. And before you know it, I'm just stressed out, just over worry. So basically, I just woke up and I said, you know what? I'm going to be a worshiper. So I just been worshiping God every day and just being thankful for the fact that He has given me a new day, given me new grace and new mercies to get through the day. And I just been trying to take days one day at a time. So I hope that, like I said, I hope that you guys had a great weekend. And I pray that your week will be even better than your weekend. And I just pray that you will, worship more than you worry like I'm trying to do. Now I'm not going to say trying to do it like I am doing, because I got to remember to watch my words. So today's episode, I'll basically just be talking about how I got started doing hair. So I've been praying more about what I should talk about on the podcast, because sometimes, you just get off track, or, when you try to talk to a larger audience, you kind of don't know where to go or what to talk about. So instead of me guessing every week, I just been praying a whole lot more, asking God to give me different topics and things to share on the podcast. First of all, He knows who's listening. I don't always know exactly who's listening to the podcast, but God always knows. And so He knows exactly what people want to hear. And for some reason, I guess He just wants me to talk about how I got started. This is the Kingdom Hairstylist podcast, so I guess I should be talking about hair. So anyway, I was so young when I got started. I remember being about 5 years old, and I remember just always wanting to do doll baby's hair because my hair was short. So I know a lot of people be like, oh, when I was little, my hair was so long. I never had that story. My hair was always short. And I could only get one style, and it was usually a ponytail. And I used to get so mad because my cousin, her hair was so long, and we grew up like sisters. So her hair was so long, her ponytail would be so long and flowy, and mine would just be stiff, and it wouldn't even move. So I just remember that, and I used to have this bang. I don't know why they gave me this one little bang. That bang was never laying down. It would just be flipping and flopping all kinds of ways. And then sometimes I have too much grease on it and it would be too greasy. So it was just a mess. And so I think that is what triggered me to want to do hair. I hated my hair. I didn't like the way it looked. I was raised by my dad. My mom did my hair as well because I was raised by her as well. But I lived more with my dad full time. So when I would go over her house on the weekends, she would do my hair, and it would be good because she would braid it or cornroll it or something like that, and then it would last a little longer. But my dad only knew one style, so it was going to be a ponytail. And then when he got married to my stepmom, she knew I'd do a little bit more. But again, I used to still be mad because it was so short. It just never looked the way that I thought it should look. And then that was in the era where everybody wanted to use the pressing comb and straighten your hair. And my grandmother, bless her heart, she's passed away, but she used to press our hair. And she would do a good job, but until one day she dropped it on my shoulder. And then from then I was just terrified of the pressing comb. But I still got it done because I didn't have a choice. Growing up in my grandmother's house, you didn't have many choices. You had to do exactly what she did to you. You had to do it, you had to take it and just deal with it no matter what. You didn't have a say in, as to what you wanted to do. And so I got my hair pressed, and I had to learn how to not be so afraid of it. I was about to say shy, but that's not the right word. Afraid of the pressing comb anymore, because it was going to get done one way or the other. So like I said, just being raised by my dad, I was like more of a tomboy, but I also still wanted my hair to look nice. And then I figured, if I'm going through this, I'm sure other people are going through this as well. So I enjoyed it. I had so many doll babies, and so many with nice, long, flowing hair. My favorite one was the Kenya doll. I love that Kenya doll. It was like just the best. And I remember when it came out, I asked for it for Christmas, and I remember my dad saying no, but then he ended up getting it. And I was just peeking under the tree every night, trying to tear pieces off of the packages to see if I had the Kenya doll. And I got in the worst trouble, and I couldn't play with the doll. So these are all things that I went through as a child. So then, growing up, doing my own hair, people started to see my hair, like my friends, and they was like, oh, you do good hair. And I was in middle school just doing people's hair. Of course, I wasn't charging. I think I might have charged maybe $10 or $15 or something like that, which is ridiculous now. But I was just getting started, and I really didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't know anything about the business. I just know that I love doing hair, and that was it. So then moving on to high school, I started doing my friends' hair for like homecomings and stuff like that. So I think I upped the price a little bit more, because my dad at that point was like, look, you're going to have all these people running in and out of here. You need to be charging them some money, because my electricity bill is going up and my water bill is going up. So I think I went up a little bit, maybe like to 30 or 40, something like that. I know it wasn't more than that. And then I got my first job at like 16 as a shampoo assistant. So that didn't go so well. I got the job with my sister's friend, who I call my big sis. And she basically didn't like the fact that I was so lazy. I really didn't know what I was doing, and I don't feel like I was properly trained. I think she was looking for someone that already pretty much knew what they were doing, because her clientele was so humongous. She needed somebody fast that could keep up with her, and I just wasn't cutting it. I was just sitting around waiting for her to tell me what to do. I wasn't even hands-on or any of that. I wasn't trying to really learn. I think I just enjoy doing my own hair. I don't really think I wanted that job, but my sister, my older sister, she just probably figured I needed to learn more, and just wanted to support me in the career that I was heading into. So anyway, I got fired. I got fired from my first job at 16, and then I got hired at Foot Locker. So I started working there, and then I would still do hair on the side, and still do my own hair, and life was going good. So fast forward a little bit, graduated from high school. Didn't really plan on doing hair, because again, it was just a side hustle for me. Went to college for one semester, and then that's when I got pregnant with my lovely son Isaiah. So now, let me pause for a second. I didn't know which way, that would go as far as career-wise. I was like, now I just know I need a job. I have to have money to provide for this little baby that I have. And so I just went and got a job at a pawn shop. Somebody I knew said that they were hiring. She got me in there, and that's where I worked. Now, that was another thing that just didn't work out so well for me, because I don't have the patience to deal with negotiations and all of that. Like, you coming in there with your stuff, and you know that most of it is only worth maybe $5 or $10, but you want $500 for it. I mean, a lot of people think that the things that they buy are just so expensive. Now, I'm the same way. I want to be treated fairly, but I'm a little more realistic than some of the people I had to deal with or interact with. So, I mean, I did the job because I needed to do the job, but it was definitely not my passion. It was definitely not something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life, but it was definitely good money for me. as a 20, well, I was about 19, 20 years old. It was pretty good for the time being, but it was just like, okay, what's next? And so I just remembering back, I had God in my life so early. I heard him talking to me, as early as maybe 12 or 13 when I got baptized. So I wasn't really close with God at around 8 or 19, but I definitely knew who he was, and I definitely went to church and all those things. I just didn't have a great relationship with him, but I do remember specifically him putting in my mind to do hair, but I just kept ignoring it because my thing was I just needed money right now, which a lot of us do. We ignore God when he's trying to show us something or tell us something. When we don't have a close relationship with him, half of the time we don't even know that it's him speaking to us. But because I had a praying grandmother and a grandmother that went to church every Sunday, Saturday, in the evenings and all of that, she told me about how God speaks to you. So I kind of had an idea that was God, but I didn't really pay any attention. I just kept on moving the way that I wanted to move and just being stubborn and hard-headed. So fast forward, I ended up, not working there anymore because it just didn't work out for me. Moved back in with my grandmother because, of course, I couldn't afford my place that I had if I didn't have a job, and if I was going to pursue this hair career of going to cosmetology school. So that's exactly what I did. I decided, that I would just go to hair school and that I would go ahead and pursue this career that has been in me since I was 5 years old. And I loved it. I excelled in hair school. I would like to say that I got a lot of skills in hair school. I knew a lot of things before I got there, but I learned a whole lot more once I got into hair school. I won a lot of contests because I was just very creative and very into what I was doing, and I was just excited about it. And it was the first time I felt so alive and just felt so good and felt proud of myself, I would say. And so it was good. And then guess what? I got hired back at the same salon where they fired me from. But this time I got hired by another stylist in the salon. So I was another shampoo assistant again. But this time I'm like 20 years old, maybe 21, somewhere around there. And so I'm a lot older than 16. So I'm a lot more mature. I'm more passionate about it. I really want to do hair. So I'm really eager now. I'm really ready to learn everything that I need to learn. So I got busy in the salon because I was really, really good at being a shampoo assistant. So now there were 2 other stylists there. They didn't have assistants. So now I'm basically the only assistant for 3 stylists. So I was like overwhelmed. But it was very good money because the stylist that I got hired to work for only paid me $120 per week. That's right, folks. $120 per week. Now, don't be mad at her, because that's what she could afford, and I agreed to it. And it was good for me because my daycare for my son at the time was only $100 a week. I say that like I had a whole lot left. Listening to me say that now is hilarious, but I knew that God had a plan for me at that point. So $120 per week, $100 for daycare, so I'm left with about $20. So basically, I had to work for those other stylists. Now, the great thing about working for those other stylists is that they paid me $10 per client, and they were both very extremely busy. So sometimes I might make maybe $200 from one and maybe $150 from another. And so at the time I'm in school, I'm going to school from like 8 to 3 and then working at the salon from 3 to whenever I get off. So that could be $200 one day. It could be $200 for another day. So I basically ended up making maybe around $700 or $800 a week by the time I finished working for all 3 of them. Okay, so that's how I got started. So once I graduated from hair school, I was like, okay, now it's time for me to decide which direction I want to go in. Where do I want to work? Do I want to stay here and try to do booth rent? Or do I want to go from here into a commission salon where I can learn and grow and they'll build my clientele for me? because the booth friend option would make me have to do all the work as far as getting all of my own clients, buying my own supplies, paying my